Hello.
Eris is gone. Personal pick. Hi there.
Hecate, you have done all I could have asked and more. My wayward children here were safe within your care, and by the wisdom of your counsel, I am free.
You have always been generous, Onyx. Above all, I am grateful you returned to us. What of your children? Are they heading back with you?
They are grown, and I have much to do. If it is their wish to remain within these crossroads, then I ask that you comply. I trust they have not been a burden.
Oh, no, of course not.
Then good. I cannot say when next I shall return. Farewell.
Farewell, Onyx.
Yes, that's it. By now I've learned something of dreams and time. Should be everything. If time flows freely forth, then I would see a prior point, a possibility.
Yes.
Through dreams and time, the past reveals itself. Great Mother Gaia, I shall see my debt to you repaid.
Felt your words.
One, please. Now we wait.
Yeah, what?
Still sticking to the underworld even with the task complete. There must be lots of catching up to do on the surface.
Hecate says conditions have to be just right for whatever it is you're trying to do now. Wouldn't want to throw anything off.
Appreciate the help. It's just, I thought you missed being up there, and mortal kind must miss you too. A lot of undeservedness to be addressed.
Keenly aware, thanks. I'll get back to it after the underworld's in a better spot. Besides, I think your family's paying close attention to what's going on up there.
They probably are.
Sounds like your father's house is back in some semblance of order. Always wanted to visit if ever I could, if only to greet an old comrade or two from the war.
I'd also like to visit again, but there's no telling when, if ever, we would have that chance, so long as we're unseen. Officially, they're not even supposed to know we're here.
I know, but it doesn't make the desire go away. At any rate, as long as the servants of the King and Queen are well, perhaps our paths shall later cross, who knows?
The Fates?
Or Prometheus, aye.
Mandrake root.
There are no second chances in this world.
The Titan Kronos once intoned that there is no undoing past mistakes, mere fleeting possibilities, lost to time.
Possibilities that could have been. Generously provided by Apollo and Artemis. Drink of the earth. Become what I seek. Now simmer away. Hey, Nem, are you available to make another visit to the springs? Take a load off, come back to our senses a bit?
Shoulder's been acting up again. Could be it helps with that. Don't like having to take this suit off, but that's the trade.
Perfect.
Really shouldn't get too comfortable in here. First time you beat me in a fight, sparring match, whatever, got me right in the back of the neck. Took advantage of our height difference. Was a surprise.
I'd lost to you so often, at some point, I figured I could lull you into overconfidence. That even you could be susceptible to such a thing.
You weren't wrong. Made me so angry. Swore I'd never underestimate my opponent again. Then proceeded to convince myself you'd never beat me at the task. Our task.
So you've a bit of pride. You're not trying to stamp it out completely, right? Just keep it in check. Besides, I'd like to think we're not at odds in what we're trying to achieve.
We're not, but I can only push myself so hard. Seeing you getting stronger, getting closer, gives me the extra push I need.
I'd no idea. I always thought I got my competitive spirit from you. Anyway, do let me know if you need anything else, such as lending a hand putting on that suit of yours.
Or taking it off. Yeah. Though, can't let myself become too used to this.
Maybe just a little used to it then.
Well, enough sitting around. Time for some standing around to balance it out.
Off we go then. All grown up. Which keepsake for tonight?
Yes, my dear?
Very well. Thanatos.
Somebody fresh from Oceanus joins our ranks.
Welcome to your new abode. Do I dare? Time to retrace my steps. For my family. A gift in honor of our victory, Lord Uncle. We could never have achieved this if not for your leadership and relentless conviction, and your lightning bolts. May this ambrosia help bring us closer together in times of peace.
Ambrosia such as this ought to flow in abundance on Olympus once again, and I trust soon enough it shall. To that eventual result, you have contributed far more than just this bottle, niece. I and all of us are grateful beyond words. Knowing good Hades and Persephone now rest upon their rightful thrones once more. Your brother Zagreus, the goddess Nyx, and all the rest, they're also doing well? Such an ordeal you helped them to withstand.
We got them, Homer. More whalers. Ash of the Dead.
Be carefully maintained. So it shall be with your underworld as I see it, Flower. If there exists some lingering influence from Kronos, let us root it out.
on out.
Got here as quickly as we could. If you insist. Save some for me next time.
Good work.
I meant to thank you, since our woods and mountains are no longer likely to be crushed beneath a monster's foot or slithering appendages. That's been a big relief.
Oh, anytime. I wouldn't have liked being crushed that way either. Sounds like Lord Zeus and Queen Hera had some contingency in mind that was best avoided.
Our woods and mountains would have been in even worse shape then. Your ways shook father and stepmother up a bit. The power to destroy mortals and all that. But it's best they respect you. That's how you get them to be nice. My blessing is yours.
Fight on. What is that? Some sort of parchment work? In the name of Hades. Brilliant as always, cousin.
Now that your father's throne has been restored and Mother Nyx is free, perhaps Charon shall resume transporting shades of the dead to their eternal resting place. Although I think he shall still see to it that you are well supplied. A goddess may cross your path. Phase shift.
Together we shine. Whosoever claims this contract shall forthwith... I'm not reading all this. Wait.
Melinoe!
Brother!
Well, this is awkward. Melinoe, what are you doing here? I was just basking in the adulation of the crowd. They never tire of seeing the champion or champions of Elysium fall.
Hello, Zagreus. Wow, this is Elysium, but I don't know what I'm doing here. Last I recall, I picked up some sort of burning parchment from Charon's shop.
Oh, gods. You really accepted an infernal contract. Read all the fine print and still thought it was a good idea.
I can't exactly say I read all the fine print. I mean, there seemed an awful lot, and... Could you perhaps summarize what I consented to?
A free trip to Elysium for one, and an exhibition match with its present champion or champions for another. Though exhibition does mean deadly battle in this case. You ready? Let's give this shape a show.
If you insist.
Meet the princess of the underworld, everyone. did not hold back at all there. Blast.
Zagreus, are you all right? I wasn't certain whether this was meant to be more for show or for real.
I have to assume you decided for real was the way to go. Anyway, if anybody asks, I went easy on my little sister. Now, if you'll excuse me, I lost a little blood. That was beginner's luck.
Took you down, big brother.
The stunned and elated onlookers of Elysium gaze upon this seldom-seen princess, having heard only the terrifying rumors of her fury, and paid witness to it all firsthand.
More gemstones. I'm back. Laughable. God of war.
Would you continue warring with the Titan Kronos, but in different times? Or different circumstances, I should say. Had you but failed to succeed before, a fight without end. Oh, my kin.
Come, you thieves.
From the heavens themselves. Your path has led led to Demeter. An outcropping.
Some silver. Lord Charon, why didn't you say anything about those infernal contracts I'd started to see? I wound up in an inadvertent clash with Zagreus. Well, you know what I mean. And yes, I won. My entitlement.
Darkness guide you.
Your vow remains. Our craft leaves little room for doubt, yet some always remains. And even a little can be far too much. See how strong our sisters have become. Return to Shadow now.
Mine.
Your rival was unable to prevail.
There you are.
Hail, Grandfather.
Come now. Would you permit that we occasionally meet thus, Granddaughter? I realize our prior conversations here in Erebus were fraught, but perhaps we may yet start anew, here in this life.
I'll have to learn not to attack you here on sight, but let's give it a shot. What is it about this place that's so special?
Well, I know how to find it for one, and you tend to pass through it for two. At any rate, you now have seen the real possibilities that linger on Olympus and below. Let us eliminate the ones that would have led to ruin.
I do like preventing ruin. You'll be closely watched by Olympus and the underworld every step of the way. Don't squander the chance you've been given.
I keep telling myself the same.
Try another one, maybe.
young one.
Down I go. Ugh, that's cold. I'm soaked.
Yours to keep, if only you survive the trade down.
You again. I win this time, O King. Hear me, on my authority. Be free. I can use this.
Down to the floor below. A shining bounty reaches the dreams glimmer.
I'm very much obliged.
Choose against me even in jest, granddaughter. Apollo makes light, not I.
With their scales
Had to do it.
Let us move on. Your provocation needn't have roused my ire to the extent that it did.
Do you stay or do you dare? Below the surface, treasures a gleam calling you down to the floor below. A shining bounty reaches into the darkness.
Charon. Here, fishy. That's a bite. Hello. Olympus, I accept this message. Showtime.
Gonna level with you, lady. We can't have you bugging Mr. Kronos every night. He doesn't pay much attention to our venue here, and we want to keep it that way.
I don't think Kronos is concerned with you at all. So maybe back off. Focus on your songwriting instead of trying to asphyxiate me constantly.
Oh, she doesn't get it, gals. But don't worry. They're never gonna shut us down, not while we keep on drawing crowds like this. It's good publicity. Please welcome a very special guest.
Keep practicing. Always use more. Closer now. Corrupted shades. Flourish. Smackers.
path of stars.
Into the purse. Good. I think I'm finished here. Got a bite. Now come along.
Is there a water denizen she cannot catch?
Felt that. Hear me, on my authority. Grow golden once again. Good. Narcissus.
Looks like you put down roots here, huh? Pretty nice spot. The river Styx right over there, the rustle of the wheat.
Rustle of the wheat, rustle of the wheat, rustle of the wheat.
Yeah, kind of like back when we were up top. The trees, the flowers and all that. You ever miss those times?
Ever miss those times? Miss those times? Miss those times?
Well, personally, not so much, I guess. I mean, look at all this. I'd say we have it pretty good.
We have it pretty good, pretty good, pretty good.
Take care, you two.
You too, you too, you too.
Flourish.
Much better than the mean old Kronos from before. You'll have to tell me sometime how you turned his world upside down to make him be this way. Heck hasn't said a thing.
I see you too, statue. In the name of Hades. Here they come. In the name of Hades. Stronger. Out you go.
Hello, flower.
I can make an exchange. Well, boy, more playtime for you now.
Reap what you sow.
Ensuring time flows freely forth apparently requires cleaning up the mired hound of hell.
You're free again, for now. Now then. Valuable enough. One last drop. Should be a clear path to the house.
I shall be having a word with Father about the extent of this tragedy.
Four chambers to go. 3 chambers left. The honors, please, Phrynos. Be at peace. Family.
Welcome.
Hello, daughter.
There's a good boy.
Isn't he?
Where goes the Lord and Master of the Dead, the infernal watchdog of the underworld follows.
You all have many others who would welcome such a gift. To have been raised in the seclusion of those crossroads, I fear it must have been a very solitary life. More so than one would like.
Solitude is not always such a bad thing, but certainly it couldn't have been easy on you.
You need have no such fear. Growing up in the crossroads was never easy, but I never felt alone. I always had somebody or something to confide in. I would speak sometimes even to a fountain that we have in your honor.
Your words are not as persuasive to me as either one of us would like. If you had grown up in my house, you would have been showered with attention, not forced to harden your hands with toil, especially for one so young.
I have never regretted what I had to do, Father. And what friendships I have, I cherish. Perhaps I could have grown up with more, but I had everything I needed. Besides my parents, and brother and dog.
And now you have us too.
Thank the fates.
We've you to thank for the return of Hypnos. He would not cease apologizing for his dereliction of duty. He now is taking stock of the number of days he missed work.
We figured that would help to keep him occupied, seeing as we haven't been able to take in as many newcomers as we once did.
The court has remained closed. Nevertheless, there are growing numbers of shades awaiting their turns, and we require Hypnos to keep them orderly and informed.
He's going to have difficulty keeping all of them at bay if there's no telling when court shall reopen, though.
Oh, we need not bore our daughter with administrative drudgery. The point was merely that this missing son of Nyx has now been located. One fewer matter to resolve. Be well.
You two be well. Carefully now. Come, satyrs. It's done. Good find. Cousin. Olympus, I accept this message. That was my boon. There.
Music to my ears.
If this was your attempt at humor, know that it was lost on me entirely.
Well, here we go.
just this way. And look where that got her.
Care for a little wager here? Showed up just as I was about to settle up all by myself. Well, you can have your share. Here comes the reckoning. We're clear.
Don't act so surprised.
Go.
One chamber left. And now for the Titan.
Greetings to you.
Greater strength. Contract approved.
You take care.
Oh, hello.
Time again, is it?
Odd. All of this looks entirely the same, and so do you, Titan. I had expected that perhaps this night had something new for me in store.
Oh, do not sound so disappointed, granddaughter. If you wish for me to muster some newfangled trick of mine in order to enliven these proceedings, I am happy to oblige. infinitely stronger now. Stronger with each passing night.
You're old and tired. You don't even know why you're fighting anymore. To prove something to your children.
They took everything from me. Everything and more. Now they seek for you to take the rest. Such a wretched family, this. May time flow freely forth. Leave me be.
What did I tell you?
Not even deathless gods are able to entirely withstand the sheer relentless force of time. And yet upon this night, the Princess of the Dead has seemingly achieved exactly that.
I think I know something of time by now. More of this sand.
The only time that we experience is now. We have the Princess of the Dead to thank for it, through all her tireless endeavors, such as what transpired on this very night.
Return to Shadow now. That's more like it. We really showed him, didn't we, Freenos?
Another victory within the depths of Tartarus. Except now, your fight requires you to transcend space and time, with assistance from your grandfather, of course. True?
True, as far as I can understand, Lord Moros. Headmistress notified you of these new details, then. You don't sound terribly surprised.
I assure you that my inability to sound terribly surprised does not prevent my feeling so. You have many such battles left to fight?
Whenever time permits.
Then to your many victories to come.
Hooray!
Ugh.
Aw, Hypnos is gone? I had big plans for him involving a bag of cats and a couple bottles of nectar you gave me.
Then I saved him from a terrible fate of some sort. Perhaps at some point down the line he'll thank me properly, as he was in a bit of a hurry to depart.
Why don't you let me kill you next time we're on the Rift, and chances are you'll wash on down into the river Styx and wind up right in front of him again. He's the greeter at the House of Hades, isn't he?
He's not a greeter. He holds a position of high honor.
Welcome to the House of Hades. He's a greeter, babe.
Another victory for the unseen.
The nightmare goddess stands before me in all her glory.
Before the dawn, when the dark shrouds the sky, in the east, when the sun begins to rise, shadows stretch their gloomy figures, shifting until the twilight
Grandpa's not around to sing the other part, but you sure are.
After dusk, when the moon still dabbling with time.
Just right. Headmistress, you cursed my friend. Poisoned her. You taught me never to be quick to judge, so help me understand.
Understand, then, that my allegiance forcibly is with the gods, not with arrogant mortals. You did not know the Arachne of old. She has been humbled in her current form.
Then she has learned her lesson. Please, help me change her back.
I told you 'tis a matter between her and Athena. For my part, I merely can express regret. To you, as well as her. Perhaps in time, Athena herself may thus be swayed.
But... full grown.
You know, I thought that once Kronos was out and the Underworld King and Queen were back, you'd have to join them in the House of Hades. Be the princess you were always meant to be.
I'd like to think I already am that. My father's house is truly something to behold, but this is home, not there. And I'll be seeing my parents and brother frequently enough, I think.
Oh, right. How was it meeting Zagreus? He live up to all the hushed tales of his prowess and all that?
If I told you, I'd have to slay you.
Well, all right.
Here you'll grow strong. Nice and warm. Live and thrive. What do I need? Appreciate the deal. I don't suppose you'd be willing to head to the fishing pier with me again. Good place to occupy our minds with other matters for a little while.
That it can be. Then very well. There is aught I wish to speak with you about besides. You truly believe I wish to rid myself of you? Either that, or you sought to wound me more deeply with your words than you're able to with the nocturnal arms.
I'm sorry, Headmistress. It's just... at the house, I realized I didn't just want my family back. I wanted you to be happy. But I felt like you were pushing me away.
My happiness is neither your responsibility, nor is it within your grasp. And 'tis I who ought to apologize for all that I put you through. Forgive me.
Never apologize when you are not at fault, you used to say. You were never easy on me, but also were never cruel. You taught me the difference among so many things.
Lack of cruelty is not the highest standard. At any rate, evidently I've taught you enough. I still shall challenge you in Erebus for sake of fitness and attunement, but in time, perhaps you shall refer to me not by title, but by name.
Not as Headmistress, but as Hecate. That shall take a while. To think I used to use your name so casually when I was little. Much comes full circle with time.
More than you know. Now, let us shift our focus to the river denizens, getting too close a listen for their own good. Be still.
Cheer up, Mopa.
It was a pleasant enough outing, but speak not to me of happiness again. It is a foolish thing with which to be concerned. A byproduct of fulfillment, nothing more.
Of course. Thank you, Headmistress. Hecate. Full bloom.
Malinui.
There's no way she could have... Oh, hey! My disciples here claim that you clashed with none other than the Prince of the Underworld himself, and you fought with the fury of a demon, to which I said, come on.
It's true, sir. I found myself in some competition chamber in what looked to be Elysium. There, Zagreus and I engaged in a full-contact battle for the hearts of our spectators.
Well, that seems pretty pointless to me, kiddo, seeing as I trained you both. You were equally matched. I don't see what comparisons are even to be drawn.
Commander, we're nothing alike.
That's exactly what he'd say.
I'm pleased to see you made it here. Momus.
I'm gonna take this from the top.
From Star Wars to Batman, TT Games has made their name by Lego-fying one popular franchise after another. Now the team is branching away from the icons to create an open-world Lego adventure exclusive to Wii U. But does the Lego gameplay stand on its own without fan-favorite characters backing it up?
Hey! Do you need help with those donuts?
Undercover puts you in the shoes of Chase McCain, called back into action after crime boss Rex Fury breaks out of Albatross prison. To catch the crook, Chase plays both sides of the coin, assisting fellow officers in arrests and going undercover to pull heists and gain trust within Lego City's various gangs. Of course, despite their criminal element, it's still a family-friendly, lighthearted affair.
You think I'm funny? Funny how? I'm sorry, boss. I didn't mean to...
Get out of here and unload that truck. Hey, you must be Chase.
The cast frequently cracks bad jokes that still manage to make you smile, and there are plenty of winking movie references for adults, including Shawshank Redemption, Dirty Harry.
I know what you're thinking. Did I have 6 shots or only 5?
And The Matrix.
Just don't let me fall!
Meanwhile, the simple musical score adds a fun vibe to each chapter, often playing on the funk sound of old cop shows.
They belong to our friend Huggy. He has no sense of personal space.
While past Lego games have inched towards more open worlds, none come close to the scale and variety of Lego City Undercover. Starting in an area resembling San Francisco, your borders soon expand to include forest, farmland, Italian and Chinese districts, and much more. There's some mild draw-in and occasional frame rate drops, but the look of the game is diverse and pleasing to the eye, with great vistas to discover. Between missions, you're free to explore as you will, borrowing cars and smashing up the environment to find hidden areas and collectibles, although you'll need to earn various abilities before you can actually interact with many of these discoveries. I'm using interactive gags like swings and bubblegum machines are around every corner, and there are literally hundreds of side tasks involving diverse activities like stuffing pigs into cannons, time trial racing, or pinching particular vehicles for criminal contacts. Woo! Speaking of cars, Lego City boasts more than 100 vehicles in all, including sports cars, compacts, trucks, boats, helicopters, horses, and segways. Surprisingly enough, there's a lot of variety in how each ride handles, and many come equipped with boost. As an officer of the law, you can blow your whistle to commandeer anything that looks useful.
You, ma'am, I'm gonna need your car.
Or you can permanently unlock vehicles with a choice of simple paint jobs. However you choose to get around, you'll find yourself collecting plenty of Lego studs used to purchase characters, vehicles, and cheats. And Undercover also adds collectible bricks that appear when you bash various Lego items. All these bricks add up to one of the most compelling new additions to Lego City Undercover, Super Builds. Various locations hold empty Lego platforms awaiting construction. With enough bricks, you can see a new structure built up at lightning speed. Many end up being functional vehicle stations, but some have you building enormous objects like bridges, sandcastles, and dragons. It's a simple way to bring another element of building into the Lego games, and the impressive visual spectacles will have you searching for elusive super bricks, which net you thousands or tens of thousands of bricks in one shot.
I think there's another super brick around here somewhere.
You can take on story missions by driving to the indicated waypoint. Here you'll often meet new characters with new abilities as you search for clues at the prison or base jump in a nearby mine.
God! I wasn't ready!
The life of an undercover Lego cop is never dull. One minute you might be taking a moon buggy from a space shuttle, soon after you're on a rampage with a robotic T-Rex skeleton. With diversions between levels, it should take you about 15 to 20 hours to see to the end of the story. Like past Lego games, each level has its own checklist of additional goals. Obsessive players could find themselves spending a lot more time replaying story missions and scouring the world at large. Getting things done in Lego City is still focused largely on smashing objects to build new ones and using the various character abilities you gain in the course of the story, with new gimmicks popping up regularly enough to keep things fresh. There are nearly 300 disguises to unlock, boiling down to 8 different archetypes. With a police uniform, you can follow trails of clues and use a grappling hook. Robbers can break open doors, crack safes, and paint objects with a color gun. Then there's the farmer, the miner, astronaut, and so on, each with 3 or 4 unique abilities to try out on the world.
I get to use dynamite now? This is gonna be a blast!
Undercover also puts more emphasis on mobility, offering free running courses up tall buildings and frequently throwing you into high-speed vehicle chases. Driving accomplishes more than just getting you from here to there. Mashing through multiple objects in succession while driving will get you more bricks, and if you get a high enough combo, you even become temporarily invincible. When push comes to shove, blocky brawls don't really have much sense of a challenge, but the stylish animations are entertaining, and you'll learn throws and counterattacks to spice up your repertoire. Platforming continues to improve, but there are still odd moments where you're prevented from making a jump to keep you from breaking the designer's intentions. You'll find that you can't gain solid footing on certain rocks, and you can't use vehicles as stepping stones. Likewise, you can't take a helicopter from rooftop to rooftop since you're only allowed to exit at particular places, although you can jump directly to another vehicle. Designed as a Wii U exclusive, it should come as no surprise that LEGO City Undercover makes extensive use of the gamepad, bringing it right into the LEGO world. The touchscreen serves as a functional map most of the time, but you'll also use it to answer video calls, and many of the game's menus appear only on the touchscreen. More interestingly, you periodically use the gamepad to scan the environment for suspects and collectibles, or you can take photos and post them directly to Miiverse. Unfortunately, there's no option to play only on the gamepad, and there are long loading screens whenever you start a mission or cutscene. These small issues are only minor annoyances, but one potential deal breaker is that the game lacks any kind of multiplayer gameplay, disappointingly ditching the drop-in co-op play that's been a staple of the series for so long. While the omission of co-op play in this outing is an unexpected disappointment, LEGO City Undercover is the best game in the series so far. It's consistently fun and surprising, offering the freedom of a great open-world game without all the guilt.
Okay, you've had enough.
Who says you need a medical license to perform an organ transplant? Apparently not Surgery Simulator 2013, which has no problem leaving a comatose patient to the mercy of your medically untrained hands with a collection of sharp tools at your disposal. You simply have to figure it out as you go along, and hey, accidents will happen. This comically morbid vertical slice of malpractice is short and sweet, if you can call blood-gushing arteries and squishy intestines sweet. After a brief tutorial on how to manipulate your individual fingers and wrist movements, you're ready to tackle the game's heart, kidney, and brain transplant procedures. Each stage requires you to carefully excavate almost every organ in the patient's body to reach the one you're trying to replace. But of course, it's entirely up to your discretion on exactly how careful you'd like to be. Delicate precision seems like the obvious method to breaking and cutting through rib cages or slicing organs at specific incision points. And it is, at least in theory. But the learning curve for the game's very complex and exacting controls needed for these procedures can lead to some frustration and hasty tactics, usually resulting in your patient's demise. When things go wrong, they go really wrong. Reinforcing the game's dark humor, the nonchalant commentary informing you of your success or failure also shows the game is very matter-of-fact concerning its grisly nature. In order to avoid a tragic result, you'll have to keep a watchful eye on your patient's blood loss rate, utilizing a syringe to stabilize it whenever necessary. Incidentally, scrambling to let go of whatever you currently have in your hand to pick up a syringe can lead to moments of panic, since accidentally touching its tip will send you on a colorful psychedelic trip, leaving you with the decision to proceed under the influence or take even more precious time searching for the antidote. While the physics-driven gameplay really showcases the interactivity of the game, it does create its fair share of clipping issues, as well as occasional moments of difficulty in spatial navigation. But, like the effects of the syringe, it's the impressive little details that stand out and surprise. Whether it's the emergency shut-off button for the precision laser, being able to eject the floppy disk from the main screen's computer, or even using the pen to write on a notepad, it shows a commendable amount of thought and care was used when designing the very physical and hands-on experience. Surgeon Simulator 2013 won't bring any aspiring surgeons closer to their dreams. What you will get, though, is a condensed but fun experience in the role of pretend doctor and the medical disasters you can impose on your pretend patients. It's a dark, gruesome, and hilarious take on this life-saving vocation, though you'll probably end up ruining more lives than you save. See all of our shows and game reviews now on the brand new GT app on Xbox Live, and the GT Originals iOS app too. Kart Life is about choices. Unlike other games, you don't decide between good and evil or which gun you'll equip. Instead, you have to figure out where to put your limited time and money so that your chosen character can feed themselves. Hunger isn't the only thing you'll fight either. Each of the 3 characters has one big problem they're trying to resolve. If you pick Melanie, it's saving up enough money to prove to the court that you deserve custody of your daughter. For Andrus, it's finding the motivation to get out of bed and move beyond some terrible past tragedy. Vinny, the last character, attempts to finally hold down a job while feeding a ravenous caffeine addiction. Wisely, the game doesn't try to evoke empathy through tons of exposition. In fact, you spend most of your time working a mundane job. Melanie makes coffee, Andrus sells newspapers, and Vinny prepares bagels. Though there are small differences, each job is similarly repetitive. Day in, day out, your customers ask for the same things and complain in the same way. While it isn't fun, the monotony of the tasks is authentic and relatable. Whether it's grinding coffee beans by mashing arrow keys or folding newspapers by typing short phrases, the soul-crushing work will soon have you begging for respite. Yet daily walks to school with Melanie's daughter provide enough motivation to put the apron back on. Together you'll talk of the existence of boys and how dumb school can be. Such grounded characters allow you to find pieces of yourself in the people you control. They're weak, hungry, and tired, but also courageous, persistent, and hopeful. You're not out to save the kingdom or escape irradiated monsters. Instead, you simply want to be happy. Kart Life is a reminder at how tough such a simple goal can be. Even the most trivial decisions are daunting. Every time you want to travel to a new place, you have to choose between taking a taxi, riding the bus, or walking. Relying on your feet is the cheapest option, but you're never sure how long it'll take. Perhaps it's best to call a taxi since, as they say, time is money. Yet doing so is expensive, and splurging on speed might mean you can't afford supplies for your business. The game's limited save system encourages you to stick with decisions. You can only save once per day when you wake up. You'll think twice before doing something, knowing that reloading means redoing a day's work. However, the limited saves are infuriating when something breaks. More than a handful of crashes, scripting errors, and freezes occurred during our review, and the only option was to reboot. Such issues break whatever connection you had with the world and can drain your will to continue playing. Even with numerous technical problems, Kart Life offers more than simple entertainment. You'll cringe when Andrus's rent is due, and despite your best efforts, you've come up short. Dealing with the landlord is more frightening than most survival horror games, and it has a lot to do with the fact that you aren't shooting zombies. This isn't escapism at all. Kart Life puts the trials of life front and center. For once, the player has to think about issues, rather than blasting them with a shotgun. Everyone likes a good yarn and an independent spirit. Stick with game trailers all week as we explore story and games, the newly minted Excellence in Narrative Award at the Independent Games Festival, and explore the Indieverse with Kelly Santiago. Coming out swinging with a budget price tag and a wild cast of characters, Anarchy Reigns is a forceful beat-em-up where distinctively styled badasses turn their eyes toward brutal online competition. Does this Platinum Games project find the secret formula for a genre that used to dominate the 2D era? Or are the good ideas lost in the chaos?
What is an official from the city doing out here?
Beginning with an altercation in a bar, the game's offline action begins with the choice between one of two characters, Jack or Leo. Both men hope to find the renegade agent Maximilian Caxton, and it's not just legions of mutant goons that stand in their way. Anarchy Reigns hits the player with a surprising number of cutscenes and unskippable dialogue sequences, creating a hyper-trophied story that rivals the bulk of the game's ridiculously muscled protagonists. Unfortunately, it just gets in the way. It's awkward and uninteresting, despite some flashy cutscenes.
You will continue story later. I simply love your eye! Latest BPS tech, am I right?
Anarchy's two-sided single-player mode offers a substantial amount of action and variety, but the structure isn't exactly ideal for its purpose. The free-roaming stages are large, but they're not much fun to explore. Enemies are more of an annoyance than a threat, the environment isn't interesting to navigate, and there's just nothing worthwhile to discover as you earn points to unlock more missions. And by picking out two-star characters, you're stuck with the same guy for long periods of time, and you don't learn any new moves or grow any more powerful. You're occasionally offered the chance to control a teammate for a single mission, but you're largely unable to experiment with the broad stable of fighters, even as you unlock them, for use in the game's multiplayer mode.
Ooh, shiny!
It's also possible to unlock new characters by ranking up via participation in multiplayer matches, although the long grind makes it evident that clearing the campaign is the easy way. The number of different match types is impressive, ranging from the insanity of 16-player battle royales to more intimate 2-on-2 tag matches and objective-based events like Capture the Flag or the surprisingly enjoyable Death Ball. All the modes technically work, but there's no question that the more chaotic match types outstrip the limitations of a fighting system that has difficulty dealing with more than one target at a time.
You know we're gonna win this, so why don't you just tell us where Max is now?
While it's great to have so many different ways to play, it can be difficult to find the exact type of game you're looking for using the in-game search options. Expect to spend some time waiting for your match to start even if you're not picky, and realize that finding enough players to get in a round of Death Ball a few months after release could sadly be a sketchy proposition.
Let's hope they don't live up to their reputation.
Punching dudes and dudettes to death in Anarchy Reigns isn't incredibly complex, but there is a bit of room to learn the systems and develop interesting tactics. The 16 characters each have a few signature moves and animations, but you'll probably notice groups of them share the same basic template, and the entire cast relies on a broad set of universal commands, such as jumping attacks and a space-clearing 360 attack. The standardization keeps the learning curve shallow, and while no character really feels unique, there is at least some measure of variety. Landing basic attacks and combos fills a bar for each character's so-called deadly weapon, like a giant spiked bat or a pair of arm blades, that's capable of doing some heavy damage as long as you have juice left in the meter. You'll occasionally find items like shields and guns in chests scattered across the battlefields, and a rampage move that's activated once you've done enough damage lets you turn on hyper mode and brute force your way through an opponent's defenses. Combat in Anarchy Reigns is satisfying the majority of the time. You lock onto your opponent and begin the dance of guarding and dodging, all while waiting for an opening. You can juggle airborne opponents for extra damage, and landing a throw or power blow feels impactful and satisfying. You really feel like you have the tools to isolate someone and punch them to death until they explode, but dealing with multiple opponents at once is another matter. Most of your attacks are focused and cover a narrow range, and changing lock-on targets can be awkward, leading to graceless whiffed attacks in campaign mode and blindside ass-kickings when you're surrounded by ruthless human opponents online. As frustrating as it sounds, this is more of a minor shortcoming than a complete game breaker. Everyone online is working with the same tools you are, and no character seems to possess an overwhelming advantage. Oftentimes you'll find yourself fighting what feel like fair, satisfying matches. Offline, other types of gameplay, in addition to the lackluster business of peon pounding, offer a break from brawling to indulge in activities like giant mutant riding, firing a mobile turret, or fighting off a giant electrified squid. Not every mode or activity is created equal, but the good generally outweighs the awkward, and the game stays well clear of the incompetent or just plain bad.
So what's next?
will meet again!
There's no denying that Platinum Games has a sense of style, most evident in their stylish title screen that showcases the outlandish, larger-than-life cast and the brutally choreographed combat animations you'll see during actual fights. But while the art design is visually stimulating, the game's technical performance is inconsistent, with visual glitches and some areas and characters that don't quite hold up. The game's music matches the eclectic style of the visuals, with a fairly diverse soundtrack largely dominated by aggressive electronic sounds and rappers well tuned to the game's theme, spitting lyrics related to mutants, violence, nanomachines, and getting paid. The presentation is rough in some places and smooth in others, but there's a lot to like here.
This must be my lucky day.
Anarchy Reigns throws a lot of blows, and while it's sometimes recklessly off target, this is a talented and capable fighter at its core. The budget price tag makes it easier to forgive some of the game's more obvious problems, and the game succeeds in creating a modern online beat-em-up with a solid balance of depth and playability. If you enjoy a good brawl and have the guts to step to a formidable level of online competition, you'll probably find it's worth it to roll with the punches.
You're not answering my question.
See this and other GT shows and game reviews on the GT Originals iOS app, available now on the App Store. With asymmetric multiplayer that's heavy on the gamepad, an infinite ensemble cast of the undead, and the distinction of not being a port, Zombie U is potentially the Wii U launch title to watch. Does it rise from the grave to embody its potential, or should some things just stay dead?
Welcome. Do make us at home.
You would call London a ghost town, were it not for the zombies. As one of the few survivors of the apocalypse, it's up to you to escape or find a cure or something. You see, while the prime directive is assuredly survival, it's in the other avenues of adventure when the plot thins, when it should in fact thicken. The mysterious voice of the Prepper booms over the static, chiding and talking of the Black Prophecy and of the Elizabethan mystic John Dee. But it can be hard to discern the nature of these occult occurrences via the quick snaps of conversation. Other survivors are few, as often adding confusion as doling out an offering of insight or a dot of color in this man-eat-man world.
And those men who are not prepared will succumb to its foul clutches.
This is the Prepper. Look lively. The cameras up by the supermarket still need fixing. Time to earn your keep.
The Prepper knows what's best, with his all-seeing CCTV all over London. As you awaken with what will soon be an all-too-familiar gasp, your guardian will bark some words of warning or wisdom. You'll traverse tube stations and tourist traps, scavenging supplies and overcoming every possible flavor of British zombie before you inevitably join their numbers.
I prepared you better than that.
Every time you die in Zombie U, the character you are playing becomes a new zombie to worry about, stalking the space where you bit it. Killing the old you as the new you lets you recover your gear, a profitable, if risky endeavor. Die again before you kill your previous self, though, and you lose everything, waking up as yet another new person with a stock cricket bat and a measly 6 bullets in a handgun. So goes the cycle of life and undeath. You can store your best stuff at the safe house for a later life, but after losing a prized gun, it can be hard to pry another out of retirement. You'll unlock shortcuts that cut down on backtracking, but the excessive load times add another unneeded layer of punishment to dying. The hardcore can try survival mode with a single life, leaderboards, and bragging rights. Zombie U reveals its Metroid-like nature over time. As you complete missions, you gain new abilities that grant access to more areas, like C4 to detonate obstructions, or keycodes to open locked doors. Exploring and discovering supplies and upgrades is satisfying, but there are some absurd oversights. In one early mission, your goal is to acquire a hammer. It just so happens there's one in the very safe room you start in, sitting on the workbench. Aggravatingly unobtainable.
Those cameras won't fix themselves, and you need to do a little shopping.
Even worse are the unclear and buggy objectives. We were able to clip right through a locked door that served as a key objective in one scenario, which led to the game logic suffering some serious conniption fits. Navigation is rough in general, with area maps that require unlocking and no way to reference zones that you aren't currently in. You can't jump, and actions like ducking and climbing are both context-specific, so get used to not being able to scale meager obstacles. It doesn't help that many sections, especially those indoors and underground, look quite similar, with even the more distinct areas conforming to an overall staid look. At least the multiplayer's good. One player takes the gamepad managing a team of zombies by spawning them on the minimap, while the other player, armed with the Wii Remote or Pro Controller, tries to survive and kill as many zombies as possible. The RTS and FPS elements quickly come to a boil, with a unique seesaw element that's best experienced in the game's Capture the Flag mode, with enough variety from power-ups and in-game leveling to keep things interesting.
And the King of Zombies levels up! Well played!
While the multiplayer is local only, players can go online to spray paint glyphs around London to help or hinder each other. It adds a dash of camaraderie to the soloist survival aspect, but don't expect too much guidance from the sporadic symbols.
Nice day to die.
The new zombies were so predictable. 4 swift paddles from the bat and they go down like a wicket. Feel like spending some of that squirreled away ammo? Aim for the head and double tap. That first bullet always conveniently cracks the skull. While flight is always an option, zombies invariably give chase, so it's usually a good idea to kill them. Get used to drawn-out melees and exploiting the scenery for safer engagements. Later in the game, zombies can take nearly a dozen thwacks before they go down, and ammo is scarce enough to make you take your time with the bat, especially when you're engaging small numbers. The FPS controls map well to the gamepad, though they're deliberate enough to match the game's pace. The gamepad wears many hats, acting as a motion sensor, map, and scanner. Like the movie Aliens, the red dots you see blipping could be anything from a rat to a zombie. If you switch to scan mode, you can mark them to have them show up on the TV, and likewise with any other objects. It's a cool system that has you glancing down whenever you hear the telltale pings of danger. A lot of that goodwill is undone by the zombies that don't show up on the radar at all, popping in from scripted events and monster closets. It raises the tension at the expense of the core system's integrity, with the player getting the short end of the stick.
You wouldn't be dead if you'd listened to me.
The early game is especially brutal. Hit points are hard to replenish, and if a zombie manages to grab you, it's an instant and cheap lights out, until you eventually require a countermeasure. Losing weapons is hard, so you'll be swinging the cricket bat ad nauseum, reserving the expendable handgun for the more vicious types of zombie. It's safe to say that Zombie U is not the graphical showcase for the Wii U's coming out party. To befit London's foggy rep, the environments are generally muted and draped in some bad textures. Meanwhile, the zombies' animated shambles appear quite cut and paste. There's plenty of gore, but even that can come across as slapstick, like when a slam to the lower torso makes a corpse's head pop off. The visual bugs are also plentiful. Get ready for disappearing heads, bad physics, clipping, and countless other distractions. Likewise, UI elements are often misleading with on-screen prompts that don't communicate their intended messages. The audio is no better, with your mostly mute characters cycling through off-putting grunts and yells, and the prepper's voice being hard to understand at times. Zombie U does deliver a distinctive survival experience, albeit one stymied by awkward meanderings and dull undead. It's not likely you'll die of boredom per se, though the good sections are strung few and far between. More than anything else, Zombie U feels like it was rushed to launch, which is too bad. A little more time in the incubator, and it could have been something special.
It would be beautiful, if not for its dark design.
See this and other GT shows and game reviews on the GT Originals iOS app, available now on the App Store. What is a Castlevania? After rebooting the franchise with the action-focused Lords of Shadow, Mercury Steam continues their take on the legendary series with Mirror of Fate. With its heroes side-scrolling along a flat plane through a sprawling castle map, Mirror of Fate certainly bears resemblance to classic Castlevania titles. But the heart that beats within is that of a different game with a different story to tell. It's an experimental transplant of a new core identity into an old body, and the result is a strange and somewhat awkward hybrid that struggles to match its forefathers. The story thread that began to unwind in Lords of Shadow is picked up and carried on in Mirror of Fate. The game jumps through time, tying together the fates of its various individuals and creating interesting, vampiric melodrama as it goes. This multi-character approach equates to 3 main protagonists, and while each is differentiated by his own monster-killing accoutrement, they all move and fight in essentially the same way: heavy jumps and long-range whiplashing.
Run, Simon, don't stop!
Beast slaying has much the same feel here that it did in Lords of Shadow, dodging enemy attacks in arena-like spaces and laying blow after blow onto enemies before grabbing them for a finisher. These struggles have a hard time fitting into a constrained 2D space, your whip has an incredibly long reach, and combat is mostly a matter of timing rather than proper positioning or distance. On the defensive side, certain blows from your foes may be parried, triggering an opportunity for reprisal, but just as often enemy attacks are unblockable and must be avoided with a jump or dodge move. The screen often feels crowded when there's fighting, and while fights against single, powerful enemies can be entertaining despite unrewarding QuickTime sequences, there's just not a lot of room for finesse. If the enemy is in range, start flailing. When they attack, get out of there. Part of the blame lies with the control method. With the D-pad assigned to trigger various character abilities, you're forced to use the 3DS analog nub to control character movement. While this lets the game differentiate between your character walking or running depending on how hard you're pressing the stick, it's a terrible match for the action-focused gameplay, making it more difficult to quickly change direction or stop on a dime. Jumping from platform to platform requires more patience than skill, and movement in general has a heavy and awkward feel. In addition, the game sometimes enforces arbitrary rules for where you can and can't go, and it's never really clear how far your character can fall without hurting himself. It all comes together to make exploring the dark Gothic environments much less fun. While there are multiple playable characters, none can escape the generally clunky feeling of the action. Rather than facilitating different playstyles, each new character offers a linear ability progression. The double jumps and wall jumps of self-hating vampire Alucard are a noticeable upgrade from Simple Simon's basic moveset, and the fighting moves and health boosts you earn by leveling up one character will be passed along to the next. It's the magical abilities and optional weapons that set the characters apart, although they don't create many interesting gameplay differences. A bat projectile isn't that much different than a boomerang, and Alucard's promising wolf form does nothing more than give him a little extra elbow grease for his whip attacks, and the ability to rip open special wolf doors.
It wasn't supposed to be like this!
The connected castle layout invites more of the exploration element many fans associate with the series. You'll encounter many inaccessible areas as you make your way ever forward. These sealed-off doors most often conceal small cubbyholes with a single power-up unlocked by one character ability or another. You can increase your maximum magic, health, and the number of sub-weapons you can toss, but it's all entirely optional. The game is generous with checkpoints, with more challenging boss fights saving your progress once you've done a certain amount of damage. So, while you may backtrack and scrounge around for a few pickups, the primary motivation is no more interesting than increasing your completion percentage. Mirror of Fate leaves a poor first impression, but the game gradually becomes more enjoyable as you move through it. The game takes time out to puzzle near the halfway point for a welcome change of pace, and saves its best moments for the end of the game, which you can reach in around 10 hours. Taking on the form of what most players associate with classic Castlevania, Mirror of Fate seems to stumble around in an unfamiliar body. It's at least playable, if not always enjoyable, and the game wants so badly to be Castlevania that it manages to tell an interesting tale in the end.
No. No! Show me more, damn it!
As you awaken on a warm spring shoreline, Proteus draws you into a sensory dream. Enveloping you in strange sights and sounds, Proteus is the kind of game that you need to lose yourself in to fully appreciate, playing without distraction in a quiet room or with a pair of headphones. Born from the awkwardly shaped pixels of early PC games, this impressionistic experience has you wandering amidst recognizable elements like trees and stones, while encountering curious creatures that often defy classification. Every part of this world is represented through sound as well as visuals. Odd tones surround you as you trek through the forest, small rabbit-like animals produce rising notes with every hop, and unfamiliar noises guide your exploration as effectively as a dirt path or a distant hilltop. Limited to walking and sitting, your presence is your only means of interaction, but this is enough to prompt surprising reactions as you discover new parts of this lively world. You'll watch as day shifts to night and spring turns to summer, and arriving in certain locations at the right times will trigger some of the game's strangest sights. A visit to Proteus lasts about an hour, but you're free to linger or progress as you choose. You're unlikely to see or understand it all in one trip, and the randomly generated island provides fresh layouts each time you play. After your first journey, a set of additional options unlocks to tweak some elements to your liking, and if you become attached to a particular world, you can save a postcard to return to that map whenever you like. While Proteus doesn't evoke a sense of lasting emotional impact, it provides a brief escape to zone out and let your senses soak in its world, whether you're following your nose in discovery or simply relaxing and watching the sunset. See this and other GT shows and game reviews on the GT Originals iOS app, available now on the App Store.
Welcome. Don't let my sultry and mysterious voice startle you.
From Ron Gilbert and the team at Double Fine, The Cave seems to be designed specifically to shine a spotlight on a deficiency in our industry's vocabulary. Mixing the quirky item-based puzzle solving of games like Maniac Mansion with the platforming and maze-like tunnels of games like Metroid, The Cave essentially combines two genres with the same name.
Okay, I think they're just dying for fun now.
Is this adventure truly the best of both worlds? Or is it just an awkward mutation?
Okay, let's get it over with.
Like I said, there's no dying in The Cave.
The story of The Cave, narrated by The Cave itself, has a mood similar to an episode of The Twilight Zone, infused with a vein of humor that extends even to the torches on the wall. Its eccentric characters, ranging from a hillbilly to a scientist, seem friendly enough, but as you delve deeper to find their heart's desires, you learn just how dark their motivations can be. Cave paintings tell these explorers' backstories piece by piece, and twisted puzzle solutions reveal just as much about each person's character. With its cool, gravelly voice, The Cave serves as the game's central personality, and it's hard not to fall in love with its commentary as it explains your ability to cheat death or debates with itself on pronunciation.
Trust me, this is ominous. Ominous? Ominous. Yeah, no. Yeah. Ominous. Oh, never mind.
Upon entering the cave, you construct a party of 3 chosen from a cast of 7 available characters. Each person has a unique skill. For instance, the adventurer can swing over gaps, while the monk can move objects with his mind. These abilities serve as keys needed to enter levels tailored specifically to each character's ambitions, making about half your journey change based on the group that you take. The knight has to outwit a dragon to gain favor from a princess, the twins are searching for a way to sneak out of their parents' house, and the hillbilly has to best a series of crooked carnival games to win a prize for his sweetheart.
The amazing two-legged lady. You know, the hillbilly carries a torch for her.
While this character-based structure provides ample replay value, it also means that the game has to be played 3 times if you want to see it all. Achievement descriptions provide some extra puzzles to work out on return trips, but the 3rd playthrough consists largely of repetition as you rush to the last character scenario.
Well, personality must not be a big hiring point here.
It's an enjoyable trip nonetheless, lasting about 4 to 5 hours for the first run and about 3 hours for each return tour.
It does bode well for our intrepid spelunkers that they navigated that maze of intrigue.
Gameplay in the cave is all about solving puzzles, either by interacting with various items or by having team members work in sequence. You may need one person to stand on a switch while another walks by, and you'll make frequent use of dynamite and fuse boxes. The game is at its best when it asks you to find uses for unique items, and while you may get momentarily stumped by a puzzle, it never feels like a solution is too obscure. The individual character levels are the most rewarding, as each takes inspiration from their themes for different types of puzzle design. The Time Traveler's level is the most complex of all, requiring you to bend the past, present, and future to suit your needs in advance.
Here you can see the latest addition to our collection, a newly discovered ring bust factory.
Taking direct control of characters to hop over gaps or solve weight puzzles feels natural, but coordinating the 3 members of your group occasionally means walking through the same place multiple times, as there's no way to call everyone to one location. The game can be played with 2 or 3 people locally as well, but players either have to stay on the same screen or take turns in a manner similar to playing alone.
Careful. If that bridge breaks, there might be no way back up.
The cave's art style is charming and distinct, bearing Double Fine's unhinged tone, and there are a few classic references tucked away for players old enough to recognize them. Playing the Xbox 360 version, we unfortunately found performance to chug quite regularly, and on our second playthrough, a bug kept a key item from appearing. Thankfully, it was corrected with a quick reset. Despite some brief rough patches and a structure that requires replay, the cave is a thoroughly entertaining descent that lives up to its pedigree. Gameplay and narrative work together to create a funny and surprising adventure, with inventive puzzles that hit the challenge sweet spot just right.
By the dark powers invested in me, by the county of Rutherford and the surrounding unincorporated areas, I pronounce you disappeared!
See this and other GT shows and game reviews on the GT Originals iOS app, available now on the App Store.
Tank!
Seems like just about every system is launched with a game that initially looks to have limited appeal, but eventually builds a cult following and becomes successful. Usually these games have a unique concept and a low price tag, and with Tank for the Wii U, at least half of that equation is satisfied. Is it a launch darling or day one dud?
Bring it down!
There's really no story in Tank. Various robotic creatures are attacking the area, and you must repel the onslaught. After each mission, you're taken to a static screen for encouragement and tips to help you going forward, but that's about it.
Select your tank.
The design isn't much more complicated. You select a tank, choose a stage, and start blowing things up. There's a multitude of different tanks to unlock, with each having its own attributes that will level up with repeated use. Stages are generally unlocked as you complete the prior mission, but the game includes choke points where you're forced to go back and play old levels with new tanks in order to move forward. It's a cheap way to extend the game's length, and since new tanks are generally more powerful, there's simply no challenge involved. It's a huge waste of time.
Mobilize immediately! Exterminate them!
The multiplayer modes are a little more diverse. You get the typical deathmatch variants, but you can also play a separate campaign cooperatively with friends, but it essentially recycles the same missions from the single-player experience. The lone mode that has some semblance of creativity has one player using the gamepad to play as a large robotic Kong with their face plastered on it, while the other players try to topple it. Despite the interesting bent, it also lacks staying power. After playing Tank for far too many hours, it's pretty obvious that it's been made for younger players. You steer and shoot, and that's about it. All the targeting is automatic, which can be infuriating when you're trying to drop those last few robots with the timer running out. There's some light use of the gamepad's gyro here or there, but otherwise, the game can be played with the D-pad and one button. Weapons are plentiful, and finding out what each one does represents a large chunk of the fun to be had, but there's not much. A distinct lack of difficulty makes it quickly feel like you're just going through the motions.
Direct hit!
You're completely forgiven if you mistake Tank 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 for a last-generation game. Its colors are much more vivid, and the resolution is higher, but everything is rendered using the lowest polygon count possible. The audio is passable, though there's very little voice acting, and the sound of firing the weapons will quickly pass its expiration date.
Move out!
Tank 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 is hard to recommend on any level. It's short on content, fails to take much advantage of the Wii U hardware, lacks gameplay depth, and quickly becomes monotonous. It holds some charm for those who enjoy massive creature flicks, but everyone else should steer clear despite its discounted price tag. Launch day surprise, this is not.
Mission terminated.
Hello.
Hello.
As developer Endspace does not tire of reminding us, Heroes of Ruin goes out of its way to make use of nearly every element in the 3DS's feature set. The result is an action RPG that certainly looks complete on paper. Is there actually a good game here, or is Heroes of Ruin resting on hollow technical achievements?
Greetings, take care.
Heroes of Ruin is set in the world of Vale, which is still recovering from the devastation wrought by the cataclysmic War of Ruin. The world was saved from the brink of destruction by a heroic being called Ataraxis, who became the guardian of the city of Nexus. The tale begins with Ataraxis being afflicted by a curse, and you're called upon to find a means of reviving the slumbering guardian. It's a decent enough premise. The main problem with the story is one that's unfortunately common in this sort of game. As you pursue the business of dungeon crawling, the plot goes on hiatus for long periods of time, and you never end up feeling attached to the world or its denizens. Factor in a cast that's largely unremarkable and some cheap cinematics, and you have a world that seems to go out of its way to prevent immersion.
I'll keep this.
Fighting your way through dungeons, scouring for precious loot is the name of the game in Heroes of Ruin. There are plenty of quests and objectives to fulfill over the course of the game, bolstered by daily and weekly additions via the Spot Pass feature to extend the game's length, which is a good thing since it runs a bit on the short side.
I can feel that.
You can take on the forces of evil solo, or form teams of up to 4 players locally or through an online connection. The game is at its best when you're playing with others. Otherwise, the trek is so overwhelmingly uninspired that you'll find it difficult to muster the will to carry on. It doesn't help that there are only 4 real types of environments in the game, with dungeons that feel samey despite the varying locales. Round that out with dull quest objectives that rarely deviate from the shop-worn kill and gather formulas, and you have quite the recipe for boredom.
I've got a job for you.
The allure of collecting rare loot to deck out your character only carries the game so far, and the character customization options are lacking. And while there is a lot of depth to the skill tree system, it often feels all for naught, since simply brute forcing your way with basic attacks often gets the job done. This is largely the result of shallow AI, defined by predictable and easy to exploit enemy behaviors. Heroes of Ruin checks off the list of action RPG fundamentals in a perfunctory, workmanlike fashion. Ultimately, though, it lacks the heart and imagination that's so crucial when it comes to distinguishing games of this type.
That's how it's done!
Regardless of what class you pick at the outset, everyone in Heroes of Ruin follows the same basic set of rules that govern combat. You're given basic attacks and defensive abilities, and earn talent points to unlock special abilities as you level up. Each class has its own unique playstyle, and there's a good bit of variety when it comes to building your character. This could have been one of the game's most redeeming qualities, were it not for the boring enemy behaviors. Enemies rarely surprise you with their attack patterns, and it's even less often that they show up in large enough numbers to give you a scare. There's There's a lack of variety overall when it comes to combat. The only times you'll need to dig in deep and formulate a strategy are in the rare instances when you're overwhelmed by a large crowd or during boss encounters. Since there's not a whole lot else to the game, the end result is a whole lot of plotting and mindless dungeon crawling. Also likely to bug you are the absurd inventory and currency limits. There's a hard cap as to how much you can carry, which normally isn't a problem since you can sell unwanted loot instantly. But when you're also full up on gold, you'll have to do some ridiculous logistical gymnastics just to continue adventuring. This involves buying useless merchandise to empty your coffers and then discarding the trash you just purchased. In a loot-focused action RPG, this oversight is beyond baffling.
I have to say I'm perplexed.
Heroes of Ruin looks just as generic as it plays. Environments feel like a copy and paste job from one zone to the next, character models are blocky and lack detail, and the cutscenes are comprised of low-quality still images that do little to immerse you in the world. What sparse voice work is included comes off as half-hearted, and the score never had a chance of salvaging this wreck.
I'll take this.
Heroes of Ruin fails to deliver a solid action RPG experience, and earnest efforts to tailor the experience to the 3DS hardware don't excuse its shortcomings. Underneath the surface, you'll find nothing more than a bare-bones experience of hoarding loot and plowing through mindless enemies. Don't wipe the dust off your 3DS just yet. This game isn't worth your time.
Goodbye.
The original Resident Evil is a groundbreaking title, credited with coining the term survival horror. While it isn't the first of its kind, it is widely considered to be the game that popularized the genre for a broader audience. Series creator Shinji Mikami later remade it on the GameCube with enhanced visuals, controls, and retroactive series lore. Mikami has since left Capcom, but that isn't stopping the company from releasing an HD remaster of this fan-favorite entry to the recently declining franchise.
Jill, no. You don't want to go back out there.
The story takes place at the Spencer Mansion deep in the Arklay Mountains. Bizarre murders have been occurring in the region, and it's up to the STARS team to investigate the disturbances. Naturally, things go awry, monsters are on the loose, and a larger conspiracy is slowly uncovered. The richly meticulous environments tell as much of a story as the central plot. No detail is wasted as scattered documents, bizarre traps, and hidden tombs create a world that feels believably inhabited. The graphics are stunning, especially considering the game was originally released in 2002, and certain sections have been redone from the ground up without compromising the original vision. Character models have been drastically updated, and stark lighting creates an uneasy tension that has never been matched in later installments of the franchise. Unfortunately, a few areas haven't received an equal attention to detail, most notably the caverns. The contrast between the improved character models and some of these lackluster environments is jarring and disappointing.
Something about that mansion still bothers me.
New additions unique to the remaster include a 16:9 widescreen display that slightly tracks the player's movement. The subtle camera movement can be awkward at first, and there are some weird moments, but it quickly becomes unnoticeable. The most important addition, however, is the new control system. Classic Resident Evil titles have been commonly insulted for their so-called tank controls, and the new method aims to remedy them. While many newcomers will favor this optional method, something is lost in the alteration, with characters no longer feeling properly grounded in the world. Purists will likely favor the classic controls, and thankfully, you can switch between either method on the fly. The enhanced audio now supports full 5.1 surround sound. The voice acting has been unchanged and remains campy, which may strike newcomers as off-putting, but at least it's an improvement over the 1996 original.
I think you'd better take a look at this.
What is it?
Blood. Jill, See if you can find any other clues. I'll be examining this. Let's just hope it's not Chris's.
Combat is deliberately paced, with long stretches of tension between each new encounter. The cramped mansion hallways are a haven for lurking zombies, and the later enemies are appropriately more intimidating. The quiet music in save rooms offers a brief respite from the constant threat. Keys and gems are typically obtained by solving the riddles of the mansion and overcoming these. Alternate costumes, unlockable weapons, and global leaderboards to inspire speedruns. Additionally, the achievements and trophies are particularly thoughtful and encourage replaying the game differently, such as only using your knife or finishing the game without saving.
What's gotten into you?
Resident Evil HD Remastered takes one of the best entries in the franchise and cleans it up for modern devices. It still holds up remarkably well. This is the perfect opportunity for newcomers to jump in, and hardcore fans can look forward to the definitive version of a survival horror classic. Sonic Team's second attempt at recapturing its popular mascot's glory days in the 16-bit Genesis harkens back to 1992's Sonic the Hedgehog 2, which was notable for introducing Sonic's sidekick, Tails. While Sonic has never enjoyed the diversity of moves shared by his fellow mascots, the one aspect that separated him from the pack was pure, unadulterated speed. Unfortunately, Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 2 seems to go out of its way to put the brakes on Sonic, thanks to some questionable level design choices. Instead of including creative ways to maintain the Blue Blur's blistering pace, the game often brings the action to a screeching halt, requiring the use of sluggish, imprecise teamwork moves in the air, underwater, and on the ground to overcome obstacles. The developers have effectively slowed Sonic's roll. If the first episode's zones tipped its quills to the original Sonic, Episode 2's environments draw inspiration from the sequel. Not only are you accompanied by the young fox Tails, whose nickname is apparently derived from a birth defect, you'll also experience stages reminiscent of Sonic 2's Oil Ocean, Aquatic Ruin, Sky Chase, and Wing Fortress zones. Collecting at least 50 rings on a stage also opens up access to a bonus round, which mirrors Sonic 2's half-pipe race format. The visuals throughout are bright and colorful, with the developers opting for 3D characters and a more modern look instead of 2D sprites. The sound effects are spot on from the earlier games, but the retro-flavored chiptunes are grating and detract from the presentation. The controls also disappoint, lacking the crispness found in the 16-bit games, particularly when trying to use Sonic's homing attack. While the gameplay checks off many of Sonic's core features, such as collecting golden rings that let you absorb hits, revving up and around loops, using spin attacks to free animals trapped inside robotic enemies, bouncing on springs, and inhaling air bubbles to breathe underwater, the teamwork elements seem forced. You'll soon realize that the inclusion of Sonic's sidekick is more of a hindrance than a boon, an anchor instead of an engine. Tapping a button has Sonic and Tails performing a context-specific tag team move introduced by a hand-slapping animation that will have Tails slowly lifting Sonic in the air, propelling him underwater, or forming a ball to break down barriers. You'll need to use these pace-killing moves frequently throughout the game's 4 acts, each consisting of 3 stages, as well as a drawn-out boss battle against either Dr. Eggman or Metal Sonic. While the main content can be completed within an hour, there is some replay value associated with trying to get faster times on each stage, discovering alternate routes, or acquiring the elusive Chaos Emeralds. Both local and online cooperative play are also supported, but the multiplayer aspect is more frustrating than fun since you have to share rings and life between characters. Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 2 ultimately feels loose where it should be tight, slow where it should be fast, and tedious where it should be exciting. Sometimes it's best to let sleeping hogs lie. Originally designed as a Half-Life mod more than a decade ago, Counter-Strike has endured because of its well-balanced, competitive gameplay that requires skill to succeed. Counter-Strike Global Offensive is a revamped version of the classic first-person shooter, offering some tweaked modes on the same maps that help define the series. Those unfamiliar with Counter-Strike will find the game a more cerebral experience instead of the run-and-gun arcade-style action popularized by recent iterations of Call of Duty. In Global Offensive, there's no regenerating health, no cinematic storyline, no experience points to level up your soldier, and no unlockable kits or perks. The deterrent for dying is having to sit out and watch as the rest of the match unfolds. While this may sound disappointing to those weaned on more contemporary shooters, Global Offensive's comparatively pared-down experience is no less thrilling. The game's focus on teamwork and tactics gives the game a distinctive feel as you choose between 4 online game types as part of a terrorist or counter-terrorist faction. Classic Casual and Classic Competitive are team-based modes played in multiple rounds. The goal in each is to either eliminate the opposition or be the first team to complete a map-related objective. Depending on the map and your faction, you'll either rescue or defend 4 hostages, or either plant or defuse bombs at 2 specific sites. While the goals in both Classic Casual and Classic Competitive are the same, the differences between the two are primarily in terms of scope. A Classic Competitive game consists of 30 rounds instead of 10, enables friendly fire, and has you earning money for kills, planting bombs, and so forth that's used to purchase armor and defuse kits. The Casual variant gives you armor and defuse kits automatically.
Bomb has been defused. Counter-terrorists win.
The other 2 modes consist of Arms Race and Demolition. Arms Race, which has been adopted by both Call of Duty Black Ops and Battlefield 3's Close Quarters expansion, consists of a single round where everyone begins with the same weapon. Each kill automatically changes your weapon until you receive the golden knife. The first person that lands the killing blow with the knife wins the round. This is the only mode where respawns are possible, offering a nice change of pace from the standard modes. Demolition is a mashup of Arms Race and Classic, taking the fixed weapon progression from Arms Race and including 2 multi-round matches that have you trying to plant or defuse a bomb in a bank, safe house, and other locales.
You like to make things go kaboom, don't you, son?
What makes Counter-Strike Global Offensive appealing is that it plays differently from its competition. Tired of jumping assassins in other games? Jumping here will penalize your accuracy. Sick of seeing more praying and spraying than in a baptism ceremony? Then you'll appreciate that those who use short, controlled bursts while aiming will be more successful. If there is one knock on the game, it's that it offers the same maps as earlier versions of the series, giving veterans a huge advantage over new players. To offset this, the developers included an option to play against bots offline, so you can practice each mode and map. This will give you a fighting chance against the real players, but expect to die early and often, until you hone your skills and familiarize yourself with the map layouts.
Nice work with those wooden terrorists.
Of course, the most important aspect of any multiplayer game is how much you want to play after the session ends. This is where Global Offensive excels, possessing the same addictive quality that helped make the previous games a long-term success story. Shooter fans looking to diversify their library or prove their mettle against a talented pool of players shouldn't hesitate to pull the trigger.
lose everything, or to become a god? To stand with us, or against us?
MMOs have long lingered under the tutelage of Tolkien. Sci-fi and superheroes have sometimes had their day, but Dirks and dragons still rule the roost. The Secret World champions a modern-day horror setting, while also attempting to break some boundaries by introducing puzzle-solving mysteries.
It's open season on whatever's got no right to walk or crawl here.
Should this secret be kept quiet, or will this occult sideshow achieve mainstream status?
On my terms, not yours.
Something has gone terribly wrong here. Far beyond the earthquakes, locust swarms, and rain of fire.
Skipping through quest descriptions, dialogue, and, well, anything skippable is the default MO for many MMO players. Sure, role-playing servers in the Old Republic have certainly raised the narrative ceiling, but lore tends to lag far behind skill trees and loot in terms of importance. The Secret World puts a big emphasis on weaving its tales of the macabre. All myths are real, and secret societies have you exploring the entire spectrum of the supernatural. Zombies and mermen terrorize a New England town, mummies and cultists are warring in Egypt, and no classic cliché goes unmentioned.
But there's someone else too. Someone with a lot of resources and friends in the highest places.
Quests are delivered through long monologues and overacted but entertaining cutscenes with the earnest manner of a community theater performance. Serious matters are often sandwiched between puns, and it can take a while to find the main thread, but when it takes hold, this MMO can feel more like a single-player RPG as you race to find out what happens next.
Your princess is in another castle.
With places like Lovecraft Lane and callouts to other video games, the Secret World has the distinct aroma of a well-circulated internet in-joke, with collectible lore icons peppering the game's original backstories. You'll groan, smirk, and eat it up like the modern pulp it is.
You'd think with all the hours I put into Left 4 Dead, they'd let me carry a gun.
With the buzzing of magic bees, you awaken, filled with a magic ability offered to one of 3 secret societies. Create a young Adonis or Aphrodite, join the group that floats your boat, and start investigating the paranormal. The Secret World would like to make you think it's broken from tradition with no levels or classes, but in actuality these tropes have been tied to weapons, and acquiring experience to unlock different skills feels suspiciously close to traditional leveling. The gear fetishism so prevalent in many MMOs is muted in the Secret World. You'll still strive for better equipment, although the weapons are modestly adorned, and talismans, standing in for stat-improving armor, offer no ornamentation at all.
No. Too much visibility on the street. They're listening. They're always listening.
The clothes that your character wears can be purchased with in-game currency, real-world cash, or earned from specific quests. Showing off your fashion sense through pret-a-porter duds is a nice touch, even if it doesn't broadcast your baller-level stat development. It's the quests that make the Secret World shine. The land is filled with colorful characters and cast-off detritus that open the world up with various tasks. You'll still need to commit to routine slaughter of specific enemy types, but there's a strong sense of escalation, and interesting things can happen in between bouts of bloodshed. The environments that harbor these challenges are also exquisitely detailed. Places as mundane as deserts or forests feel like much more than a simple swath of sand or trees. PvP has the 3 factions duking it out in one persistent war zone and 2 smaller arenas. The ongoing war can strangely feel like running laps to capture points, sometimes avoiding the other factions entirely, while the arenas favor straightforward en masse onslaughts. There's some competitive fun to be had, but this aspect of the game lacks polish and generally feels like an aside. With no PvP in the story zones, this is as good as it gets. The only other options are the under-attended free-for-all fight clubs found in each hub. It can take some time to acclimate to the Secret World, but with a bit of experience under your belt, it really can become a magical place. The plunder might feel ho-hum in the game's grand scheme, but the quests themselves are often riveting, so long as you aren't stymied by a bug.
And you may be feeling some discomfort from the microchip that I grafted to your spinal column.
Funcom's marketing department would have you believe that the Secret World's combat is a new beast, where quick reflexes will save your butt. In practice, it's still the steady rhythm of button presses as standard attacks bank energy for power attacks and ability cooldowns expire. There's a dodge ability to use when enemies telegraph their uber attacks, and physical proximity comes into play on occasion, but while it's engaging, it's hardly revolutionary. Abilities do tend to play off each other in interesting ways, so exploring various skill combinations can be fun, though it can take a while to decode the game's stats and terms for something that really gels.
Connect the dots.
There's often just a little more than meets the eye in the secret world. More complex missions will have you using items to break up combat, and stealth expeditions asking you to avoid it completely. Even small side jobs, often triggered by examining particular objects in the world, will feature some sort of twist. The instance dungeons focus on challenging boss battles that exhibit a puzzle-like nature and reward success with some of the game's best equipment. Investigations are where the real brain-bending takes place. Esoteric knowledge and math skills come in handy with an in-game web browser letting you research Bible verses and other clues. There's a smidge of grunt work involved, like decoding Morse code, but for the most part, the puzzles are devious and fun.
I didn't actually expect that. I had thought you were dead.
Beyond the brain power needed to solve the puzzles, there's surprisingly a little bit of Mario in the mix. Jumping is no longer just an impish impulse while running from point A to B. The secret world asks you to look before you leap with a carefully timed jump from time to time. There's no falling damage to worry about, and with hidden honeycombs of lore secreted away, it's sometimes worth taking a tumble. This adds a pleasant layer of exploration beyond beelining to waypoint after waypoint and accruing quests. Wandering can be its own reward. The downside to these adventures, from the smallest side mission to an epic enigma, is that many are buggy at launch, forcing you to put them on the back burner. Because the complexity of the tasks goes well beyond the typical kill 10 bunnies routine, it can be difficult to know if the quest is broken or if you're just missing something vital, which can be hugely frustrating. The first round of patches fixed some of these issues. Still expect to see a constant stream of game chatter about bugged out quest lines in the game's immediate future.
누구랑 같이 있었냐고? 이 새끼가 피 터지게 한번 맞아 봐야 입을 열겠구만 이거.
This is the Hollow Earth.
The secret world does a good job of breathing life into the undead and the otherworldly. Even traditional types of enemies all have some sort of edge. There may be only a few zones, but each is plotted with abundant detail. Combat effects are as blasé as the combat, which cycle through identical animations like a monotone mantra. Cutscenes are pleasant to watch, even with the hammy and dramatic deliveries, which makes the poor lip syncing and clipping that sometimes pop up much more regrettable.
You find out what those people died for, and you bring a reckoning.
As for the mystic savants that populate the world, gym membership may be clearly enforced, but none of the secret societies operate the fashion police, though the Templars have probably considered it.
With a little...
Let us work to ensure their suffering is keener.
The word artifice often has a negative connotation. Here, it's the careful, thoughtful deception that makes the secret world stand out. The vainglorious plot and meticulous landscapes of cliché will draw you in place of base compulsions to hit a level cap or maximize a gear score. If you can stomach the horrors of the night, as well as road combat and occasionally glitched gameplay, you might just be the perfect pledge for the secret society.
When you bleed the land eventually bleeds you back.
That wave tin is some bullshit.